I'm excited to see what the devil does. Give it up for Mark Ormsby! Kitos ta ngā mihi, and well, hello there. All my life, I've been told by my family and my uncles and aunties that we descend from Irish ancestry, from Irish whakapapa. So, you do what you do, right? You go, okay, I'm going to prove that. So how am I going to do that? Oh, I'm going to do a DNA test through Ancestry.com. Has anyone else done that? Anyone in here done Ancestry.com DNA testing?
Yeah.
Yep, okay, yeah. They're so fucking wrong. They're so fucking wrong. What it said to me when the results came back, it said, I do not have a wee dram of Irish DNA in me. Oh, that sounds like Scottish, right? But I do not have any Irish in me. And I said, no, they are so wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. My great-great-grandfather came from Ireland, from a place called Ballymuscalone. And when he came here, he had 2 daughters and 13 sons. Now I have 1 daughter and 6.5 sons. That proves I'm half Irish. There you go. Irish logic coming through the fore there. Yeah. So also the other thing I hate about Ancestry.com, if you've got the subscription, is that it sends you these hints every week. And every week they say stupid little things like, Mark, we believe that your great-great-grandfather might be from Ballymuscalone. And they also things like, Mark, we believe that you're the twin brother to Jason Momoa. Okay, I might believe that. Okay, all right, they're doing all right in my books. But what I thought is like, if they really wanted my attention, what they should do is put on that AI voice, right? So if there are things that you want to, things that you want to hear like, for instance, if it's someone that you didn't know, right? You get this.
Mark, I am your father. Search your Ancestry.com subscription. The Empire is having a half-price DNA testing on it.
And that's the kind of stuff I don't want to hear, and I'm going, all right, it's Darth talking, I don't want to hear it from Darth anyway. But anyway, one of the things it did say was that I was 16% Swedish, Danish, and German. So I thought, okay, that sounds like a Viking to me. So I jumped on a plane, and I flew to Stockholm, caught a 2-hour boat to an island called Birka. Right? And Birka is this Viking village. And there I learned about my ancestor, Orm the Viking. And he was a one-legged Viking. Can you imagine that? A one-legged Viking. I'm not going to do this all night. But I'm a one-legged Viking. And so when I was there, I started thinking, wow, what must it have been like to be a one-legged Viking? So I started thinking about that, and I started going, yeah, when it was on those long boats, right? You know how today you go on a plane and they're seating up the front for folk? Well, for Vikings, they didn't have that. And they didn't have the access ramps back in the day. So it would have been really tough for him. And job prospects. So he would have gone to the job recruiter and said, the job recruiter would have said to him, okay, Orm, are you good with birds or do you scare them away? And he would have said, I think I'm really good with them. He said, okay, if you're good with birds, you're going to be a pirate. And if he said no, then they would have said, well, then you're going to be a scarecrow. Because back in the day, before automation, everyone had a job, right? So on farms, they would have had scarecrows. So that would have been him. And then I thought, what about love? What about, a prospective women? And so I put myself in Orm's shoe. And I thought, one fine day, across a burning village, through the smoke and chaos, there, standing on one leg, was Peggy, the Pictish princess. And they would have looked into each other's eyes, and they would have hopped towards each other, and literally fallen for each other. And that would have changed him from him being a Viking and maybe changing his ways to being a pirate after that. So love would have been tough, right? So, and then I thought about the battles that my ancestor Orm might have been in. And when they went raiding out to villages, You know, the one-legged pirates or the one-legged Vikings would have been the bane of everyone's jokes, right? So the Celts, before the Vikings arrived on shore, they would have been out there doing this. Just to get at my ancestor Urim. And of course, the Scots, the nasty Scots, they would have drawn hopscotch all over the place. Because they knew that the one-legged Vikings going past would have gone, we're going to... Stop. We must play this game. I do not know why I'm sounding like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but this is the Viking, I think he is. Because it was Viking honor to play games. And they would have been pretty good at it. And if they'd lost the game, they would have left without fighting. And he would look back and gone, okay, we will be back. And so, those are the kind of harshnesses that they had. But I also learned that I was also 69% Māori, yep, and 16% Hawaiian. So when I was over in Stockholm, I decided to go to Helsinki, to Finland, because I heard people there were multilingual, right? So they spoke lots of languages. But little did I know that they spoke Te Reo Māori. That's right, they spoke Te Reo Māori. Has anyone here been to Finland? Yeah, okay, so sir, what's a Finnish greeting? He said kiitos, which means thank you. But the other greetings they say is tervetuloa, which means hello. But what I noticed when I got there is that females especially were saying to me moi or moi moi. Now audience, if you know your real Māori, what does moi moi mean? Yeah, it means they want to sleep with me. That's my Irish logic kicking in there. And so, of course, with my Hawaiian, they probably thought that I was Jason Moimoa. Look, so I'm going to just do a little song here about my adventures over in Sweden and Finland. When I did my DNA, couldn't believe what it had to say. They said I was German, some Swiss and some Dane, but I'm Māori, I'm Hawaiian, a little bit of Viking, wish I was from Ireland. Wish I was from Ireland. I'm Mark Ormsby, you've been a great